Good morning and welcome to SoulCall Sunday. My name is Lisa Ferrero. I'm the founder and spiritual director of SoulCall Ministries, and we welcome you this morning as we explore and experiment with daydreaming in the cosmos. What in the world could that mean? And I was so busy daydreaming that I forgot to get dressed this morning. I'm still in my robe. I was daydreaming, people think that musicians and artists and all we do is we sit around and we're lazy and we daydream. And it's, you sit around trying to think about nothing all day. It's not as easy. Some people would call that enlightenment. Think about it. Or don't think about it. Daydream about it a little bit. So we welcome you this morning. We're going to explore that theme. But first, I'd like for you to just take an opportunity to get yourself centered. And we're going to be pulling in the energy. As you know, we've been working with Qigong masters. Deborah Weisenberger-Lippitz joins us this week. And teaching us how to use the energy around us to help power the energy within us in this co-creation process we call life in human form. So recognizing that we've got this energy within us and around us at all times, it's an empowering opportunity for us to learn how to participate with it. So we invite you to either stand up or be in your chair, but partake of the wisdom and the experience. We want you to experience the cosmos, the cosmic consciousness, the vibrational force that powers all of our thoughts, all of our speech, and all of our actions. And welcome Deborah as she takes us through this process.
Today, we are going to bring all the qi into the body to rest and nourish qi. And remember, Qigong Qigong is an intention-based practice. So you can utilize this little bit of a form when you are having challenges, anxiety, impatience. Please use it. First, we center the body and focus the mind. So please look forward with the eyes open. Straighten the back, relax the entire body from tip to toe. Then look forward from inside the mind's home, out through the third eye, yin tong, to merge with nature's qi further to the stars and further to infinite space. From there, gather all the healing qi, love, good wisdom, and pull it back through the stars, through nature, to the center of the head, and very gently close the eyes. With the eyes closed, it's very easy to feel the mind shining brightly inside. From the mind's home, place your attention to the top of the head, Ba and open up, expanding up through the ceiling into the blue sky and beyond to infinite space. Gather all the healing qi, good wisdom, and pull it down into this room, enveloping all of us, merging us together, heart to heart, and mind to mind as one. Shining deeply in the center of the head, move down through every layer of the body, illuminating, lighting up the entire body to Yongshen, the bubbling spring of each foot, and open up to merge with earth qi, all the way through, breaking through into the blue sky and beyond to infinite space. From there, gather all the healing qi, love, good information, and pull it up through the earth, healing the entire earth up into our body and deep inside. Now, we are completely merged with qi, illuminated with qi. Reach qi fingers deep into the earth chi. And gathering chi, slowly move the hands up into praying hands position in front of the chest, spiraling the chi into the heart center. Then moving up through the chest, through the head, moving up to above Bahui, continue all the way up, lift further, then open the fingers one at a time, a triangle merging with infinite space. Separate the hands, drop the elbows, pulling chi back down. Arms form a straight line, turn palms up, scoop chi forward. To the front, shoulder width, middle fingers deliver chi back inside the mind's home. Drop elbows, drawing chi to underneath the arms, dabao, circling, spiraling chi into the heart center. Continue to the back, palms up, gathering abundant chi, slowly circle toward both sides, touching the horizon. To the sides, rotate wrists, continue forward, to the front, middle fingers deliver chi through navel. Then cross hands, right hand first female, left hand first male. Place the centers of the palms on top of the navel. Lao Gong to do chi. Be calm. Enjoy nurturing with chi. The entire body filled with chi from head to toe. The lower dantian, between the navel and the lower back, Mingmang, is filled with chi completely sustaining the physical system. The upper dantian, between the third eye, Yingtang, and the occipital bone in the back, Yuzhen, completely filled with chi, easily sustaining the spiritual mental system. The middle dantian, from the center of the chest directly to the back, completely balancing and sustaining the emotional system. All three dantian so full of chi, they create a column of chi, light, sustaining every system in the body. Feel the joy moving up, up into the eyes. Very gently open the eyes. Relax the hands to both sides and smiling from the inside out, give thanks to our loving, healing chi field, the chi that is abundant within us, around us, and about us at all times. Thank you. Howla.
And pulling all of that chi into our bodies, recognizing that we are at once connected to all things, both seen and unseen, in the world of love, and allowing that spirit to recognize that it dwells within, as within, so without. And let's welcome our beautiful friend Gary Lynn Floyd to just allow his music to allow us to open and assimilate the beauty of this moment.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity. As within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's error, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender. Let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore. Where there's error, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender. Let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore.
So beautiful. Thank you, Gary. And welcome if you've just joined us to SoulCall Ministries. And today's topic is daydreaming in the cosmos. Daydreaming in the cosmos. And so I thought it might be good to start with a couple of definitions so we could work from the same reference point. So what is a daydream? And once again, I turn to Merriam-Webster because she's so smart. And I know it's not a person, it's just a joke. A daydream by definition is a pleasant, visionary, usually wishful creation of the imagination. A pleasant, visionary, usually wishful creation of the imagination. Okay, so we've got our imagination. Albert Einstein shared with us that imagination is more important than knowledge. Why would he say something like that? So we'll get to that in a little bit, but let's also just grab the definition of cosmos. The cosmos is the universe. And I've also seen the universe just simplified. Uni is one, but one verse, meaning there's one song of creation. And if we believe that, then this also works with using the word cosmos rather than the word universe implies viewing the universe as a complex and orderly system or entity, which is the opposite of chaos. So using our imagination to work with an organized system that we call the universe or the cosmos, an organized system or body or entity that is alive, daydreaming into it using our imagination. I think it was Stephen Foster that wrote, "Daydream, why do you haunt me so? Caught in a rosy glow, the face of my love you show." Daydream. So what I love about that song that was written, gosh, a long time ago. But then we have Shakti Gawain, who's one of the most popular visionaries, who taught creative visualization, was one of her most popular books, and that's kind of what she's known for. But in the beginning of the book, when she talks about visualization and in creative visualization, using your imagination to put forth some idea or a thing you would love most to have, she surrounds it also in a rosy glow, just like the song Hundreds of Years, which preceded her. And it's a rosy glow. And some of us recognize that quartz stones are stones that are rose in colored. correspond with the heart chakra, the heart center. So what is it about this idea of daydreaming and imagination and creative visualization into the cosmos, imagining, daydreaming into the cosmos with a rosy glow? It creates joy. So that emotion, that emotional component of bliss, of joy, bringing it into your visualization, your imagination, awakens us in a particular way that allows us access to more of our brains, more of our brains. When we're daydreaming, we have access to more information. Why? Because we're expanding our consciousness. We're expanding the consciousness. There have been a lot of studies about this, but most recently I was reading an article that was in the New Yorker magazine, and it was about a study that was done in UC Santa Barbara, as if you need to have an excuse to daydream in Santa Barbara. It's so beautiful there. But what they did was they took 145 undergrad students and they gave them a standard test of creativity known as the unusual use task, in which they had 2 minutes. They had 145 students take 2 minutes to list all of the uses they could figure out possible for mundane objects, such as toothpicks, like bricks, clothes hangers, things like this. So 145 students start listing in 2 minutes the things that they could possible uses for these things. And then after that 2 minutes, they split this 145 group up into 4 groups. And 3 were given these conditions. One group had 12 minutes to sit in a quiet room resting. Another group had 12 minutes to perform a difficult short-term memory task. And then another group had to do something boring, which would elicit mind wandering for 12 minutes. And then in the final group, they were given no break at all. So they were given something to keep doing. Maybe keep working on the same task. So after they came back from this 12 minutes, the result of that, as you would imagine, or daydream, was that the daydreamers came up with 41% more possibilities for the uses. They were given the task again, and they had 2 more minutes to come up with more ideas or ways to use these same objects. 41% more ways to do it. Why? Because it's just clear evidence that when we're given ourselves the opportunity to stretch our minds out and daydream and use our imagination, we come up with more ideas. I know in my coaching practice, working with groups on creativity, creative ways of doing other things, or solutions. Sometimes we get caught in the world of either or. It's either we're going to either do it this way or that way. You know, we could see our political climate right now having a real struggle with being stuck in it's either this way or that way. When what used to happen, we had creative minds who can imagine how we could take this part from you and this part from you and create a third way. There's a great book by Michael Schneider. It's called, I love this book, A Beginner's Guide to Constructing the Universe. And I might have mentioned it last time, but talk about the cosmos. It's a journey from 0 to 9. And when you come up with that third way, when you can use your imagination to get off of the black and white, either or, left, right thinking, and create a both and third way from 3 many. It's infinite, the possibilities, once you come up with that third way. So this is what it's about, to imagine into a daydream. Let yourselves daydream into some third way of doing things. You know, this global pandemic has created a situation where it appears as though things are in total chaos. But if we look at the imagination and the tipping point in the imaginal realm of possibility, like we like to use the transformation, and we talk about the chrysalis and the transformation of the caterpillar into the butterfly. And the key component in that whole process is imaginal cells. These imaginal cells, at first, the imaginal cells, the seeds of future potential, which contain the blueprint of the flying creature. At first, they operate independently as single cell organisms within the chrysalis. And inside what's going on, I want you to perceive ourselves, how we can transfer this idea into our human condition right now. At first, these imaginal cells are viewed as threats because they're attacking the caterpillar. They're attacking what is already existing. So look at our political climate right now. What's going on in the global condition? At first, this pandemic looks like a threat to the whole condition, but look at what's starting to break down as a result of it. It looks to be a little chaotic because right now, again, it's that period of chaos before the transformation happens. But at first, they're viewed as threats, these imaginal cells, and they are attacking the caterpillar's immune system. But they persist, multiply, and form connections with each other. So each of these single cells, they continue to do what they're doing, and then they form relationship with each other because they're doing something differently now. So take a second to look around in your community, and who is it that are the outspoken ones, the ones who are pushing outside of, SoulCall Ministries is certainly doing that. We're on the visionary edge of creating a new way of bringing spirituality into life, our connection to spirit, that is not a hierarchy of somebody else's particular thoughts and ideas. We're not trying to perpetuate an old idea into the next millennium. We're not doing that. We're asking you to come alive, become one of those imaginal cells, and look around to see who your community is. There are other imaginal cells waiting to create a tipping point, to create a new consciousness that is here. We're all here. So if you never knew about the process of metamorphosis, you would assume the caterpillar just consumes and consumes until it exhausts its environment. Yet the plot twist happens, and the caterpillar becomes the butterfly, a vastly different creature. But again, within the imaginal cells is that blueprint for the thing that flies. The caterpillar can't even imagine that. So creating this opportunity to daydream a new world. So it's interesting to think of some of the most famous daydreamers of all time and the contributions to our present life, this present world. So Albert Einstein was definitely one. Imagination is more important than knowledge, and that's how he got his theory of relativity. Thomas Edison, a great inventor, even though Nikola Tesla came up with the alternating current, which is what we use right now, Thomas Edison was held more patents than I think any other person. And one of the things he used to do to get into a daydream state, a lucid dream state, was he had a chair in his house. And in this chair, he had 2 metal canisters built right at the edge of the arms of the chair. And then he would put 2 metal balls in his hands, turned upright. And he would sit in the chair and fall asleep, because as soon as he fell asleep, his hands would go limp and he would drop those balls into the canisters, and then he would wake up, but he wouldn't be quite awake. He'd be a little fuzzy. Like some of us, myself included, I'm like that in the morning before I've had coffee. I'm awake, but I'm not. You don't want to ask me very many questions about things. But he would get into this lucid dream state, and he would then go to play with the ideas that he was contemplating. And from that place in his consciousness, accessing subconscious and what I would actually call superconscious realms, he would be able to work at a higher level of functioning to bring about a new creation to solve a particular issue. Edgar Cayce was famous for this, and he was also famous for taking naps. He was a clairvoyant, Edgar Cayce, but a lot of the information he got was he would just take a nap. Some great saints would tell you to do the same thing. If you have a problem, Yogananda says, meditate. And sometimes the best way to get yourself clear is to just go take a nap. It's kind of like our sorting mechanism for our subconscious mind. When we sleep or take a nap, it sorts things out and clears the way a little bit for a daydream. Another great daydreamer, Lady Elaine Fairchild. Natalia and I were talking about puppets, and I forgot I had this one in there. Remember her from the Neighborhood of Make-Believe? She was my favorite because she was always kind of pushing it. Didn't just buy into something because somebody else said so. She was trying to do something differently, stirring it up just to help people think a little more differently. I love this puppet. I forgot I even had it in there. Another thing I have, are you like me with these kinds of things, these little tchotchkes? Like you can just imagine when I was a little kid, I would lie in front of the Christmas tree. We had one of those villages underneath, and I would just pretend I was on the train, and I'd make the train stop in front of a particular house. And I would get out there and walk into that house, and I'd have a whole little scene in there. I would imagine it to be a certain way. Creative play is important for children to be able to do this, but stretching it out. John Lennon, of course, wrote his song Imagine, and creating a new world from your imagination. From your imagination. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the song Imagination. Pure imagination, daydreaming, daydreaming. So there's another famous inventor. His name was Elias Howe, and he was born in the early 1700s, and he is the inventor of the modern day sewing machine. Now, there were 80 different people who tried to create the sewing machine that we use today prior to him. And there was one fundamental flaw with it. It was where the thread of the needle went. When you're doing regular sewing, it's okay if the needle is the thread is at the end of the needle because you're just doing one thread at a time. But when you're trying to expedite the process, it would keep getting bunched up. The thread would get into a knot at the bottom. And he was trying to figure this out. And he went to sleep with this problem in his mind. So this goes back to this imagination. Taking naps is very useful for creative people. And if you want to be more creative, take a nap. Some of the most amazing inventors. So he went and he went to sleep with the problem on his mind. And he had this dream that he was working for a savage king who wanted him to create this sewing machine within 24 hours or he would be put to death. So in the dream, the 24 hours elapses and he doesn't have it. And he decides to try to run away before the king realizes he doesn't have the design. And he starts to run away. And there are members of this savage tribe trying to catch him. And they have spears. And he notices when he turns around as he's running away that the spear had a thread, a hole at the tip of it and not the end of it. And he woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and by 9 o'clock the next day, he had realized that for a sewing machine, the hole needs to be at the tip of the pin, not the end. And that's how he did it. It was through a dream. It was through a dream. So imagining yourself daydreaming in the cosmos, the world you would like to create. And imagine yourself, the invitation here this week is to imagine yourself as the imaginal cell, like the ones in the chrysalis, who holds the blueprint for not just the thing that can fly, but you personally are the imaginal cell that holds within you the blueprint for this new beautiful world. A world that the calling of your soul has expression. Everybody has food. We at least start out with the same things. And it's not as much a political view as it is a spiritual view. There is harmony in the universe, and if it's within you to be the catalyst, the imaginal cell in your community, to be the one that walks in and sparks a new idea. Find out who your community is and allow yourselves to build around it. I found some other people online. I've been thinking about this for about 30 years, how we could be like those cells. What if each one of us, Buddha was certainly an imaginal cell. Jesus was. I found some other writers online who have the exact same idea that I had 30 years ago. And we've probably been thinking it for longer than that. Have you been thinking it for longer than that? Are you one of us? Are you one of these people who want to create a new world? Step into your imagination and see it. See it first and allow it to become part of that. Nikola Tesla, Martin Luther King Jr. So what if we as humans weren't just individuals, but cells in the superior organism? That each one of us, when we find our community by daydreaming into the cosmos, we daydream into the cosmos, a community of like-minded, like-hearted, awakened, alive individuals who create this race consciousness. We flip. What if you're the single voice that is the one that flips the consciousness to the higher vibration? Again, make sure you vote. Make sure you vote. Your imaginal cell, your being, could be the one that flips into a higher vibration for each one of us. But it takes us all to say yes, 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 and to find each other. It takes a lot of courage to use your imagination because it requires a letting go. It requires a letting go. And as we talked about last week, the process of allowing, it requires the letting go of the old habitual pattern thinking. These things that were pressed over our superconscious mind that make us think there's only one way to do it, or this is the way we've been doing it. Doesn't mean it's the only way. It's the way that works for a certain group of individuals, but not the whole necessarily, as we're finding. So in this global pandemic, maybe we're in a chrysalis of consciousness that we call planet Earth, and each human being is an imaginal cell. What if it's going to be each one of us being called to use our voice to bring sacred resonance to a new higher order of doing things where more people get to live a life of beauty, ease, awakening. It's not a process of falling asleep. I cited the internet, being able to use things like this. We ask you to like our Facebook page and to share it with others, and to also subscribe to us on YouTube and ask friends to do that, because this is the kind of content we would like to share, awakening people and bringing us together to flip from the caterpillar consciousness to the butterfly consciousness, so that we can fully participate and be alive and awakened in this awareness, so we can all daydream in relative ease and bring more information. There are new things that want to be created through us. And we've got to let go of the way we used to do things and recognize we're in a new world. But it does require some work. It's not just daydreaming. So what we're seeing here is like these people daydreamed, but then they went ahead and did something. They went ahead and did it. Same with musicians and artists. And we can walk into a room. Think of the time you moved into the current living situation you're in. You walk into the empty house, perhaps, and you look around and you think, yeah, if I painted this like this, or that like that, what if we bought this particular piece of furniture and it can do this? And that's the imaginal realm. You're daydreaming that you're already there, and you're having a pleasant experience as you do it. And it's probably pink because your heart is in it. Your heart is in it, and it brings that joy. And the joy is the spark, because that's the bliss, that's the love, that's the juice. It can't just be you speak your word into a thing or fake it till you make it. It's a form of daydream, but a daydream is you're actually there, living it, feeling it, and then you step into it. But you get back to the work of taking the steps that practice what your daydream was about. Like, how do I bring that to fruition? So, Elias Howe went back to his workshop and created a prototype. He didn't just leave it in the daydream. He brought it forth through the threshold of his being. October 19th, I'm going to be teaching a class called The Vortex. If you're curious about what a vortex is and what the highest vortex of consciousness is, you're going to want to take that class. We're using the Abraham Hicks book, The Vortex. But we're going to shed some light on the opportunity there that they bring forth for us, and then take it to the next level. Each one of us is going to do that. So I hope you can join us for that book. So what if you imagine that you are the tipping point? Your voice is the one that is the flip. Step into it and do it. Step into it and do it. There's a world of a wide awakening going on. And I think this global pandemic is part of that chrysalis liquefying, and we're going to emerge a higher consciousness from it. Well, what are you willing to let go of in order to allow the bigger vision for your life? For your life. So what if daydreaming is a form of meditation? It stretches the consciousness out. It allows for more joy. It allows for more fun. So daydreaming as entree to that, and getting away from computers is important, and from linear thinking of things. Allow for your proper time. Like, think about how much time you want to spend online. But, recognizing too, when I was in school for child development, there was a particular class we took with Dr. Sharna Olfman, who just did the last 2 Wisdom Wednesdays for us, talking about child development and the challenges children and parents are facing. and how they can have a more positive experience through these challenges of pandemic and learning virtually. But there was this process of how computers hardwire our brains. It takes us through a pattern when we're watching too much content. It's hardwiring us to think a certain way and to follow a certain pattern that is just pre-described for us. And so we want to try to get away from that as much as we can so that we can stretch our minds out. When I was in child development, I was starting to say they used to hire child psychologists to watch children watch videos. And they would watch for when the child started to look away, and they would make note of what the time was. And they would go back to the editing suite, and right when that time where the child would look away, they would introduce a new something into the scene, because it trips our fight or flight. And just by introducing a new object into the frame at that point, it would get the kids' attention so that the kids would be riveted, the children would be riveted to this video content. And then you started hearing people say, oh, my kids love this. I mean, I put it on when we're driving. They don't say a word. They're just riveted to it. They love it. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. It's kind of keeping our amygdala, we're hijacked into it a little bit, and we're just kind of stuck there. So hardwiring, we're trying to open and allow for more flow. So getting away from as much programmed content, things that make you tense, putting it on pause for a little while, and letting your body, letting your brain get back to that green zone of calm. Bruce Lipton calls it. So allowing for this opportunity to daydream in the cosmos, pretending that in your daydream you are an imaginal cell and you have the tipping point. You are the imaginal cell of consciousness. Your vote, your word, your voice in your community is the one that synthesizes the community around you to be that higher vision of awakening, which is taking place right now. Be part of that growth and that change, because you are, in fact. It's a realization. Wake up and realize who and what you are. And now enjoy this song from Seeker 7.
Vision's getting clearer. Life is now a mirror. In the space between time, between the thought of yours and mine. Clearer. Suddenly I'm restless. There's no room for what is less than. Whatever does not shine, it's all yours and it's all mine. Restless. When I see you, I can see your heart. Who will look away? Yes. The echo of a prayer. Decision, living from this wisdom. Light is all around, never lost and never found. Vision. When I see you, I can see your heart. Who will look away? Echo of a prayer. Never lose a sight of me, nor do I lose sight of she. Never lose a sight of me, nor do I lose sight of she. Never lose a sight of me, nor do I lose sight of she. Never lose a sight of me. be a heart who would look away as the echo of a prayer return, returning, returning, returning,
I love that. You know, be with friends and people who spark your imagination and your creativity. That is the highest opportunity we have. And sometimes we spend time talking about other people who are doing things. Let's talk about doing things ourselves and sparking that creativity and imagination. Certainly, Natalia and I have a blast. It's pretty obvious. And that was so gorgeous, Natalia. She put that together for us. Thank you. So thank you for joining us this morning. You know, and don't be afraid to shake it up. Get out there like Lady Elaine. Shake it up a little bit. You know, remember the time she turned the neighborhood of make-believe upside down? This is why I liked her so much. She was always creating ways of doing it differently and helping that whole neighborhood. It was going along smoothly, but think of things differently. So use your imagination, daydream, take naps, take notes, play, and find people who spark that creative play inside of you. So we thank you for joining us at SoulCall Ministries this morning. Your donations help us keep our content thriving and alive, and we're creating opportunities with sharing more of our programs with others. So offering your donations, no amount is too large or too small. Please send them to soulcallministries.org/donate. And thank you if you've already done so. We're doing some great things to assist in aiding humans and animals during this global pandemic in various ways. So your voice counts. If you have ideas of how we could help in your community, please send us some information at info@soulcallministries.org. If you have ideas of where we could be tithing and getting people activated in a community to help women, children, animals for the next couple months. We're going to be feeding people and nourishing their minds, bodies, and spirits. This is what SoulCall Ministry is about. And we thank you for your donations. Also, if you are in need of prayer or you know somebody else is, it's prayers@soulcallministries.org. We've got a fantastic prayer team who would love to assist in prayers. You could just put the name. There's a nice form you could fill out. As much or as little connection with somebody as you'd like, but just know that we'll be praying with you and for you. And please like us and share us with your friends on Facebook. If you see our post coming, just join our page, SoulCall Ministries. SoulCall is one word. And like us and put a comment and then share us. It helps us to get our content spread in a wider circle. So if you like us and put a comment on something you see and share it, that helps tremendously. We appreciate your time doing that. And then also subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Our goal is to have 500 to 1,000 subscribers. And as you subscribe, you'll be given access to some content that people who aren't subscribed to our YouTube channel won't have access to. So we appreciate your subscription, and we'll offer you some free content and ways to help keep your mind in the daydream state. Also, we've got workshops coming up, a 6-week class called The Vortex, which I'll be teaching in the morning and in the evenings on Mondays, starting October 19th. More information at events and classes, soulcallministries.org. And then we've got a very special guest, Dr. Barry Bates, is going to do a one-day workshop from 11 to 2 on Halloween, October 31st. And it's going to be called Science and the Afterlife. And fascinating scientific proof that there is something beyond this earthly realm. And of course, we're on to that. But it's nice to know the conversation, the veil is thin. It's not even there. So join us for that too. And Wake Up with a Consciousness Cafe this coming Wednesday is beautiful. Reverend Christy Hardwick invites Kevin Jennings in, who's a force for good on this planet. You'll love that conversation. It airs at 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning and will be available throughout the day. Well, wherever you are on the planet, we thank you for joining us this morning. And wherever you are and whatever is happening with you, know that you are loved.